Hello and welcome to another edition of On the Record. I'm your host, Jerome Sawyer. And today I'm standing on a sandbar in between Big Pipe and Little Pipe Key in the Exumas. These keys make up about 365 keys, I'm told, in the Exuma Island chain. And in this edition of On the Record, we're going to reacquaint you with some of those hidden gems that are right in your backyard and possibly tell you about some you never even knew about. This is On the Record, and this is a show you definitely don't want to miss.
Thanks to the Out Island Promotion Board, our team embarked on an incredible journey to uncover the magic, legacy, and pure untapped beauty that makes this charming little key the perfect destination for your next vacation. Our adventure began with an incredibly smooth and scenic flight courtesy of Flamingo Air, bringing us directly into the heart of Staniel Key. Upon landing, we were warmly greeted by our delightful tour guide, Dexy, from the Embrace Resort. Dexy took us on an insightful tour around the Key, ensuring we felt right at home and knew exactly where to find everything we might need during our stay. We visited local favorites like the iconic Pink Shop and Blue Shop, our go-to spots for all conveniences. We also discovered the unique laundromat and liquor store hybrid, truly catering to all essential needs in one stop. As it was Sunday and many local businesses took a well-deserved rest, Dexy guided us to the historic Staniel Key Yacht Club for a delightful breakfast. The yacht club was adorned with nostalgic memorabilia, telling the stories of its notable guests and cherished patrons, adding a rich sense of history and community to our meal. Our tour came full circle as we arrived at our home away from home for this trip, the Embrace Resort, conveniently located right next to the airport. We had the pleasure of sitting down with the woman behind this remarkable getaway, the owner and general manager of Embrace Resort, Natasha Miller. She would be our guide to all things Staniel Key, and in our sit-down, she provided insight into the aspiring origin story of Embrace Resort and the core reason Staniel Key is such a coveted destination for all.
Natasha, I want to start by talking about the Embrace Resort and really what makes this such a wonderful and unique property here in Staniel Key.
Sure. So I think one of the things that makes Embrace Resort a unique property is the story behind it, right? So sit back, relax, go back about 15 years in your mind and meet a young Bahamian woman born and raised in Staniel Key, Nicole Taylor, my mother. She basically tried to create this vision. How would you, if you needed money to build a resort, where would you go? To the banks, right? So she went to the banks saying, hey, I want to build this resort on the airstrip, da-da-da-da. And all the banks turned it down. Every bank that you can think of, CIBC, RBC, all the CCs, every CC you can CC in an email, they totally turned it down. Because why? This isn't a beachfront, right? Everybody is thinking that a beachfront resort would be the more popular thing. This is a resort next to the airport. This is a resort next to the swamp. No, baby. And as a matter of fact, let me give you some advice. Don't try that. Don't waste your money. This was the type of responses she was getting. And even as it relates to responses from people in her family and cousins, friends, Nikki, man, don't do that. Because she had a good job by the yacht club. She was managing the yacht club. So everybody is saying, like, stick with that. And then she started renting golf cars. So basically, to make a long story a little short, she did that. And then after she started the golf cart rental company, she was doing some concierge services. She used that money to build this vision. So she got $100 here, $100 there, put it together. And Mayaguana, which is behind us, was the first villa to be completed here. So being it that that is so, we have villas that are like 15 years old, but we also have villas that are 3 years old. So it was built piece by piece. So there was a time that this lovely pool that we all want to jump in was not here. And that time was just about 5 years ago. So the pool is like 5 years old, but Mayaguana is like 15 years old. But Exuma Villa, which is of course the fave, is only about 7 years old. So it was a work in progress. And I think that it's a testament to what Bahamians can do if we put our minds to it. So even if the odds are against you, even if you feel like you don't have the money, but you have a passion and a vision, if you go after it, it might not, this resort was supposed to be done in 2 years. It's still in progress. We also have a spa that we're supposed to be completing. That hasn't even been started yet. So it may take 20 years to your 2 years, but you should still try it because people love it here.
So the thing that the banks and others warned her against, she went ahead and did and built a resort next to an airport, next to the swamp, away from the beachfront. So what makes it so successful when it doesn't lack that thing that people think is so necessary for a family island property?
So, like you mentioned, Family Islands property, one of the things people usually really enjoy about Family Islands is it's quiet, right? There's no casinos here. Usually there's not a lot of loudness. So that's one of the perks of coming to Embrace. You come to Embrace when you really want to unwind. You know, of course we have our events, pool parties, discos, things like that. But it's a place where you really can feel secluded because it's not on the beachfront where all the guests are and everybody is trying to be. It's secluded away, and the noise from the airport, people were saying that was going to be an issue. While you're in your room, knocked out at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., you will not even realize
3
that you're
p.m.
at an airport. So it feels secluded. And then another thing is the fact that we are a property that's for Bahamians by Bahamians. So we are all for, you go some places, if we're going to be honest, some places you walk into a store and people scorn you. You go to a certain place and people feel like they don't want to deal with you because you're local. Whereas here, Embrace Resort is actually, fun fact for you, an acronym for all like the Bahamian islands. So E is for Exuma, M for Mayaguana, B for Bimini, R for Ragged Island, A for Andros, C for Cat Island, and E for Eleuthera. So with that, we also we embody the Bahamian culture not by just writing that name on the door, but the fact that we want Bahamians to come to Out Islands. We want Bahamians to have that experience of local tourism. So we are very focused on making sure that our Bahamians as well as our guests get that premium first-class service every single time.
And then, of course, once they get here and they're staying in this secluded, away from all the craziness of home resort, what are the amenities that they get here on property as well as nearby?
Awesome question. So first of all, Staniel Key is basically what I call a hub. So a lot of people come here to experience what's nearby. But on island and on the resort, first of all, we have the pool. Everybody wants a nice stiff look at you. You want to go right now, don't ya? Don't ya? Let's finish this off and we can talk. But we have the pool, of course. We also have very robust concierge services. So if you want to come here and get married, we got you. If you want to come here and get engaged, we got you. If you want to go fishing, if you want to go snorkeling, diving, if you want a giraffe to come and kiss you on the lips, that will cost a lot of money, but we'll try to make it happen. You know what I mean? So we try to get it done. We also have a cafe on site. Breakfast is included. And that's serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so you don't have to go off property if you don't want to. And in addition to that, we just have a wonderful atmosphere where you can come, sit out. We have seats out by the airport, so if you want to go out with a glass of wine and watch the planes come in, you can do that. We have a gazebo that's next to the pool where you can sit up. If you want to do a working vacation, you can do that because we have Starlink Wi-Fi. That means when BTC down, we up. So those types of amenities we have on property, but like I said, a lot of people come here to enjoy the beauty of the resort, but also to enjoy the beauty of the Exumas as well.
So let's talk sort of your journey here on Staniel Key. You grew up here, and this continues to be home. So what is it that has made you stay? Given all the other opportunities of the world,
Sure.
you decided to be here on Little Staniel Key to keep this resort going.
Well, like you said, like growing up here, I didn't see how much I appreciated it actually until I left. So I was born and raised here. Usually we stay here until the 6th grade, and then we move on to one of our lucky aunts or uncles in either Nassau or Freeport or one of the other major islands for high school or junior high school up until high school. And then after that, I did university in Miami. I did my MBA in Georgia, and then I moved to Dubai and China. So I was in Dubai and China for about 5-6 years total. And I'm saying that to say that even after that, of course, I could have stayed in Dubai. Of course, I could basically go anywhere in the world with experience in Dubai. But there's something about home that I realized that you can't get anywhere else. So we have people come here, millionaires, billionaires, celebrities. They come from wherever they are to be here, right? And in the same way, I feel like the freedom the freedom to roam around. We never have to lock our doors. If you leave your door open at night, swinging open, the only thing you have to worry about is getting bite up from mosquitoes. We haven't figured that part out yet. But I think that is something that I love. I love that everybody says hello to each other. I love that if my water off, I could carry a gallon jug to my neighbor because that's my cousin. There's just so many little things that while I was living here, I thought, man, it's so boring, man. We ain't got no this, we ain't got no that. We ain't have no movie thing, you know? All of these things, because you take the life here for granted, the freedom, the openness, the peace and quiet. I could walk out my door and I to the beach, literally within 10 steps. I took that for granted. I never saw my house as a close to a beachfront house. You know what I mean? So all of those little things that in childhood you take for granted, because in childhood you want to party, you want to go out, you want to have entertainment all day, every day. But as you get older, you realize that everybody in this world looking for peace, whether you're a millionaire, billionaire, or somebody sitting on the blocks with nothing. You're looking for peace and tranquility in your life. And Staniel has that in spades, so why leave?
What are the things about this community that you love? Things that, were a part of your childhood when you thought this is not the place you wanted to live, that are still omnipresent now, that make it unique and make it home for you?
So, fun fact, I had a very interesting conversation with my cousin the other day where my little brother, he went to the beach. He went in the water. And I was like, these little children, they always going in the sea, didn't even say anything, da-da-da-da. And she said, you reap what you sow. Because when we were children, she and I and the rest of our cousins, we didn't ask to go in the water. The beach, like right there, we hot, we jump in the sea. And then when you come home, you just wait for that current. But that time in the water was so good. And then little things like being able to go on the dock, find some little piece of fishing line and some little piece of hook, throw it in the sea and get fish. And you feel like you're fishing right off the dock, you get a couple grunts, find a sharp object, cut it open, gutting it, all scales, throw that on some type of fire and you eating fish. Going in on the rocks and stuff, getting curb, getting wilts and eating that. Those are the little things. Playing hopscotch, finding a white rock on the side of the road and, drawing out your hopscotch and playing with your cousins in the sweltering heat. Not a care in the world, not worrying who can kidnap me, who can run me over.
Wow.
Only worrying about this cut up you can get because you ain't asking mommy to go in the sea. So that's something that I know that it's still present now because like I said, I'm experiencing it now with my little brother. And then another thing that's great that is not as present now because child, that's new generation. We ain't waking up 5 o'clock in the morning to cook. But just you could find a home cooked meal at any house, almost on any day when I was growing up.
Still can. We ate today.
Listen.
Somebody made dinner for us today on Sunday.
You see? So it still happens. And then I have an auntie that passed away almost every Sunday or every other Sunday. Once I know mommy say, Tell Johnny, go and call you. I know that's fresh bread. I bring that home and I be a glutton, sit down, cut that up, eat that with brother, and I good for the day.
All right. So in moving around just for a few hours, you get to see a busy economy. You see the construction, you see the tourists moving around, the hotels like Embrace or the Airbnbs are all bustling. It's even difficult to get rental golf carts. The economy itself seems to be doing well. I want to talk about this economic mainstay and what is it that really makes Staniel Key so attractive for tourists?
To be honest, the first thing has very little to do with us, but it has to do with our ancestors, and that's being 5 minutes away from Pig Beach. We all know that Pig Beach is the spot now, so much so that we now have replicas, but that's not what we're talking about today. But that's basically one of the main reasons that guests pass through here. Like I said, Staniel Key is a hub. So we have Pig Beach 5 minutes away. You can go pet sharks in 20 minutes. We have a sandbar that peeks out at you 10 minutes away. So having all of these attractions within 10 minutes, maximum of 20 minutes, is definitely one of the reasons that people come. But the reason that people come back is, secondly, the clear blue water. So we have guests that come from places like West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, the Key West, etc. And I'm just like, why are you here? You have sun, sand, and sea. I understand the New Yorkers and the people from up north where it's cold, but you live in the sun. Why are you here? And they always say it's because of the beauty of the water in the exumas. And even when we have Bahamian guests coming in from Nassau, Freeport, etc., they say the same thing, that it's the clarity of the water. I actually had a yes. I actually had a guest that we had a bet where she threw her ring in the water, and I said, if I can see it, then it's mine. If I can't see it, then I'll have somebody dive it up for you. long story short, she could see it, and she didn't give it to me. She didn't give it to me.
All right.
She was not a woman of her word.
So, but you're right. I remember coming in, just looking out of the airplane window. The turquoise color seemed different. It was as if it were more brilliant. Some of the most brilliant colors I've seen anywhere in the Bahamas. But also, I have to inject this just because I'm a James Bond fan. There's the grotto over there. That is another huge attraction.
Yep, the grotto. Guests love the grotto because from the outside, it's not as beautiful. It's just, a cool rock in the ocean. But once you go in, especially if you go in at a time where the sun is just right, the sun rays actually peek in through the top. So it's extremely picturesque. And you don't even need like a big time Nikon camera to take that picture and wow your friends, whether that be friends in Nassau or friends in the US or some other part of the world. So that's, like I said, one of the reasons why people come back. After you see the pigs, you see the pigs. But you come back for all of those other attractions. You come back because of the clarity of the water, and you come back because of the people. Not everywhere you go, people waving at you and saying good morning when they don't know you. I've done that in certain countries, and people call the police on me,
For sure, for sure. So you've got Pig Beach, you've got the petting of the shark experience, you've got the grotto where they shot Thunderball with Sean Connery and in the James Bond movie many, many years ago. The remnants of which are still around, Staniel. I still see some things from that movie and from that period. And there's so much that you can do and so much that tourists come for. And it's created this buzz of economic activity. So much so that I am told that people have multiple jobs because the demand for work is so high.
That is the truth. So it's not like, for example, just yesterday, we have guests that are staying at the resort. The guests also requested provisioning for their house. Guess who they saw provisioning their house and putting the food in their fridge? The guests also had a birthday party and they wanted catering. Guess who was also the person that came to be their caterer/bartender? If you go, some of the captains, you'll see them in the morning going on to those beautiful sites you just mentioned, the sandbar, the grotto, etc. And then you'll see them in the evening at the yacht club waiting tables. So most people here have at least 2 jobs, some of them more. Some people are entrepreneurs by day and, employees by night, or vice versa.
What are the things that are needed to really help this key in this community be even better? I mean, it's great to those of us who are visiting for the first time, but there are always things that are needed. So what are some of the things from your perspective that are needed to make Staniel Key even better?
I think that, so we have 2 big things that come to mind. I'm sure there's more because there's always more. So the airport is one of the things. We have been, personally as a community, repairing the airport for quite some time now. And I know that there's things going on in that arena and Ministry of Tourism doing aviation and maybe making it private, etc., private-public partnership. But in the meantime, we have to be retarring, not entirely retarring, but basically putting some little patches here and there just so people can be able to fly in. You can fact check this, Jerome, but I'm pretty sure we're one of the top 5 airports in the country as it relates to busyness.
I have been here this morning, I keep saying, I have not seen this much traffic at LPIA on some days. It's a constant flow of air traffic.
Exactly.
It is crazy.
Exactly. So with that, you don't want somebody's tires busted because there's holes on the road. Obviously, as in almost every island, you also have the roads, like the traffic roads, the roads for carts and cars. That is also not well done. But I think one of the main things now that I believe the government is working on, but it needs to be post-haste, is the bridge between here and the southern end of the island that we call South Staniel. Right now, the bridge is not repaired, so that's something that needs to be done. So thank you, Holy Ghost. 2 things, very important. Number 1, BPL. As you said, Staniel Key is hustling, bustling. Some 99.9% of the year, we have more tourists on island than locals, specifically in high periods like your July 4th, Christmas, New Year's. Without fail, we have outages. Some houses don't have generators, you know what I mean? Like you said, we have Airbnbs, we have locals trying to do that, like being entrepreneurs and getting into that venture. That doesn't mean that they have money to have a generator. So when you have guests that are coming to the Bahamas in the middle of July and their AC is off because BPL is off, it's not a way to live. You have people that are staying in these luxury hotels, luxury Airbnbs, luxury beachfront villas, spending $3,000 to $5,000 a night. You can't explain to them why they don't have air conditioning at night. So definitely we've been pushing it. We've sent emails to BPL and we've talked about it, about the fact that I understand that these things take more than a couple $1,000s to repair, but it's at the cost of tourism. The tourism dollar is the most important dollar to the country. So if you don't do it so I don't sweat at night, do it so the millionaire that's staying here doesn't sweat at night. So that's definitely one of our biggest problems. And then secondly, phone systems. I can't tell you how many times in a month our phones are down. We have no internet. We're, like you said, we're hustling and bustling. We business people too. I have tours coming in from Nassau every day. If I can't contact the airline to tell the airline that I have guests coming in, I'm in trouble. If the guests can't contact me and they're at the airport waiting there for hours for me, I'm in trouble. So those two very, very basic infrastructural items, it's unbelievable that you have like millionaires visiting here on a regular basis, but they can't even be promised electricity. So it's very much an imbalance.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for talking with us.
Pleasure.
Thank you for hosting us here at Embrace.
Yes, sir.
I wish I could do my show from here every week.
You're always welcome.
I
Titan
think-
Air and Flamingo Air fly in twice a day.
I think that would be frowned upon if I suggested that. Thank you so very much.
It's a pleasure.
We're going to be back with more On the Record right after this.
Though Staniel Key is small with a population of fewer than 200 residents, it still requires governance and careful maintenance, just like any other island. We had the opportunity to sit down with the local government representative, Stephen Miller, to learn about the unique challenges and responsibilities involved in managing and preserving this beautiful key.
Stephen Miller with the local government council. Thank you for welcoming us to Staniel Key. I want to talk first of all about the key itself. This is a small community, but so much going on. There's so much economic activity. It really is, for me, a focal point for the Exumas because it represents everything that this beautiful island chain has to offer. So let's first of all talk about Staniel Key and what makes it such a standout in this chain of islands.
Well, thank you for having me on your show today. And I want to say to you, first of all, Staniel Key, like you said, it's a little small, quaint island. It's 2 miles long by 1 mile wide. And I don't know what gave my ancestors the vision to pick this little island to make it our home. But whatever vision they had, it's beyond what they thought at the time, because they could have picked any bigger island, but this is the island they picked. And for me personally, I grew up here as a kid, and I want to tell you, I consider Staniel Key the epicenter of the Bahamas, of the Exumas, of the world, and indeed the universe. And the reason why I say that is because it's right in the center of most of the activities that people come here to enjoy. We have the Thunderball Grotto. We have the sharks, which is at Compass Key. You have to take a boat ride for it. We have the iguanas, on Bit Iguana. And most of all, that's really gotten tourism on an uphill here is the swimming pigs. And that is the original swimming pig. So, on this island, the Staniel Key Yacht Club has been the only hotel for me growing up here as a kid, which was founded in 54. When it became a fuel stop to go to the Family Island Regatta. And ever since that, we've had tourists coming and enjoying our islands for the most part.
You have, you talk about the Staniel Key Yacht Club and the history of it, but now you come to Staniel Key and there are other hotels like Embrace. I saw another one yesterday. There are these bed and breakfast Airbnbs. There's so much activity here, and you're right, it is the staging point for so many activities. How do you manage all of that with a population, I think of about maybe 150, but all this activity going on around you and people moving in and out? What is it like managing all of that?
Well, To tell you the truth, like you said, there is a couple of other accommodations. We have the Chamberlain's cottages and we have Embrace Resort. And really and truly, because of this place being so popular, there are times when all of them are booked out. And so we have now a lot of Airbnbs, like you said, that are there. And even there are times when all of them are booked out. And so managing this is not easy. Like you said, with basically 120 people living on the island, of course, we need employment to keep all of this going. So we have the neighboring island, Black Point. We have a lot of the persons from Black Point would come here and find employment. So we are able to keep up with employment. As a matter of fact, I would even go to say that Staniel Key, personally, when all the other islands are talking about recession, I personally have not experienced recession in Staniel Key because there's always something happening here. And I think it's because of what this place represents to the Bahamas and to most people who come here. And I would have conversations with tourists all the time, guests who come here repeatedly. And the one thing they would say to me is, Stephen, we have traveled all over the world. We've been to every island that they talk about, the Maldives, Bora Bora, and all of the other things that people yearn to go and see. And they said, you know what makes Staniel Key so special? We can talk about the beautiful beaches, we can talk about the beautiful water, because there's no water like this, but it's the people of this community that makes this place what it is. And managing that is easy. Why I say that? Because we would have learned from our forefathers, and it's up to us to keep passing it down to the next generation. So that's what makes this place so special, and that's how we tend to deal with managing it.
So you talk about the tourists that come from all over the world. I mean, the yachts are lined off on the way in. You see them at various points in the water. You see the island. Tourists are walking. They're riding golf carts. You know, they're in all of the local spots. And they know of the beauty of Staniel Key. But do you think other Bahamians really understand and appreciate what's here? And I'm asking because, you know, we're here talking about domestic tourism in many ways. Do you think Bahamians really appreciate and understand what is just a half-hour plane ride or an hour boat ride away?
What I'll say to you, Mrs. Sawyer, is, you know, even talking about the tourists, most of them, the first thing they will say to me, do you realize what you guys have got here? And for me, my answer is always, I do. And the reason why I can say I do, because I've had the opportunity as a kid to travel and see other places. And when I tell you, I've never been to a place that compares to this place, I really truly mean that. And that's not only because I live here. That is the truth. And I think for Bahamians are now discovering our family islands. You know, a lot of time people say the family islands are expensive. But just like how the tourists, I listen to them. They save their money to come and experience what we have here. There's no reason why Bahamians can't do the same thing. And what I've found in the past couple of years, especially with the tours, Bahamians have been coming to do the tours. And when they get here and they see what's here, they are now saying, wow, we didn't know this existed. So I assure you that it's out there, and Bahamians are now coming and learning to appreciate what we have. You know, we have the tourists come in, they enjoy what the Bahamas is all about. Mm-hmm. But like you said, we the locals, we don't get to really enjoy what we have. We allow them. This is their playground. We live here.
And we aren't playing.
And we aren't playing. Exactly.
Playground.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but I've seen over the years that Bahamians are now recognizing it, and they're now venturing to the various islands.
Sure. So one of the things too that we've noticed, and this is with any community, that there are some challenges here. I do know that the power presents a challenge with BPL. We've seen the bridge that needs work, as well as the airport that's needed some work. So those are some of the things that I know that we've discovered. So how are they being addressed? I know that, of course, local government doesn't work, but you rely on central government to deal with those bigger issues.
Well, again, Mr. Sawyer, as the local government representative for Staniel Key, the people elected me to represent them. Local government works on a small budget. So they do like minor repairs, so like school, government buildings, clinics, that sort of stuff. So we don't have a budget to do capital work. But what we do have, they have me, who then advocates to central government the needs of Staniel Key. You would have talked about the power issues. Yes, we do have power challenges, And we are hoping that BPL will resolve those. Sometime we have, Staniel Key gets power from Black Point, which is 5 miles south of here, by a submarine cable. So occasionally we may have cable failure. We also sometimes the generator might fail. They have a generator on Staniel, but at this point it's not big enough to really sustain what Staniel Key has. And so I've been advocating to the government to deal with that. In terms of the airport was resurfaced several years ago, but it's again in desperate need of repairs. There would have been conversation that it's coming, and so we're waiting and depending on that. One of the things that we have, and I know it's going to eventually get here, is the government dock. We used to have a old wooden dock, and through my advocacy to the government to see the amount of construction and stuff that goes on this island, to give us something that would work best for what we have going on. And so they created a new concrete dock, which also have a ro-ro. Now, the bridge has been something that's been on my mind for several years, and I've been advocating to both governments about the bridge, and it's been promised. And I can assure you, I've already spoken to the Member of Parliament, and it would have been in the budget that the bridge is supposedly supposed to start soon. So we're expecting within the next month for them to take out the bridge and give us a bridge that will suffice this island.
But that bridge is a vital connect.
It is, definitely.
And in bad shape.
It's in horrible shape, and it's been that way for a while. And that is one of the reasons, actually, it connects the North Staniel with South Staniel. And what makes that important also is South Staniel is where most of the private land is. So we have a lot of expats that own second homes over there. And so to connect that with the village is very vital, and it's the only access across there. We need something that we can get heavy equipment across, because as you can see, the airport is right there, and the bridge is the only connect between Staniel North and Staniel South.
Just curious, if you've got to move heavy equipment, does it come across the bridge now, or do you have to sail it, barge it around?
At this point, no. Heavy equipment, because we have had heavy equipment actually go through the bridge before. And so we kind of eliminated heavy equipment going. And that was one of the reasons why I really advocated the government to try and get the bridge done. So presently what they do is, in collaboration with the officer that's stationed at the airport, they allow the equipment to use the shoulder with supervision to get over to South Staniel and to do it there. So the bridge is vital.
Sure.
And it's something that needs to happen sooner rather than later.
Finally, with so much going on, even before we had this conversation, you said to me that there's still so much more potential here. So I want to talk about what is the future and where are the areas of growth for this key, and even for the Exumas at large as you see it.
Well, actually, I think one of the things that we can see to grow the Exuma even further than what it is now, we talk about ecotourism. And a lot of people are now getting interested in that. And one of the things we try and do is we want to try and keep our environment what it is so that people will continue to come. And so we try to educate each other as to things that should happen. For instance, we have a lot of tour boats coming around to the various attractions. We have the world famous Thunderball Grotto. And we have noticed over the years that the coral life is kind of deteriorating because I think, one, it's not managed. So you have a lot of people going in, they're walking on the coral heads, they're destroying it. So we have to put things in place to preserve what we have for the future. And I think that's one of the major ones, ecotourism. Also, we can do with more accommodations, because I can say to you that there are times when literally there's no room in the inn and people are still looking for places that they can actually stay. There's also opportunity for more restaurants, because as it is now, we have the Staniel Key Yacht Club and we have the Flying Pig Cafe at Embrace. We have another native restaurant, which is Bottom Line, and we hope that will start operating again soon. But there's a lot of opportunities on this island. I think one of the major and biggest challenges for Staniel is the dump site.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is we have all of the Exuma and most of the bigger boats are trying to venture their way here. And so literally Staniel Key becomes the dump site for all of these mega yachts. There are days you can have a yacht bring in anywhere from 40 to 60 bags of trash. And the dump site is a small dump site.
I've seen it.
It needs to be managed. Over my term in local government, I would have them create a brim around the garbage so that you can drive around and put the dump in. But over the years, it's really gotten full. And now it's almost as if we have a mountain in the middle of the dump site because that's the only way to keep the area clear for garbage. So one of our major challenges, and I would have spoken to central government about it, is to try and take what we have in there out, and then let's put somebody there that can manage the dump site so that they can better manage how people put it in and what we do. We talked about incinerator, but we need to clean up the dump site first and then come up with a proper disposal method for all of the garbage that comes to the island.
Makes sense. Sir, thank you very much. A lot of insight,
speaking to you.
learned a lot. Keep up the great work here. This is really, people say be welcome to paradise on earth, but truly this is in so many ways. So thank you and well done to you and the people of Staniel Key for really keeping this place fantastic. So all the best to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sawyer. It's been a pleasure, and look forward to seeing you all coming down and vacationing in paradise.
Yeah,
not
I
just
coming back.
interviewing.
I coming back. That's for sure, I'll be back. Stay with
All
us.
right.
We're back with more on the record after this.
Before diving into the adventures that Staniel Key has to offer, we wanted to connect with the heart of the island, its people. We quickly realized the stories of the residents are a vital part of what makes this key so special. Our first conversation was with Travis Nixon, a true son of the soil, born and raised right here on Staniel Key. By day, Travis works on a neighboring key, but in his off hours, he's pursuing his dream of opening his very own conch salad stand. After a few friendly rounds of dominoes, we sat down with Travis to hear about his journey and his love for this island.
All right, so Travis, first of all, thank you for agreeing to talk with us here. We are just trying to understand a little bit more about life on Staniel Key and, of course, by extension in the Exuma. So I understand you grew up here.
Yes.
So I want you to begin by telling us a little bit about life in Staniel Key for a boy like you.
Well, basically, just like any other island in the Bahamas, you grow up learning about the basics, fishing, diving, playing, shooting marbles, stuff like that, like any other child in the Bahamas would. I mean, I really have much of a big story to tell about my childhood, aside from growing up as a Bahamian child, sure.
But you were able to stay here and to work, where a lot of
I came back.
Sure, so tell us about that journey.
So basically, I was here until up into grade 6, went to the mainland Exuma, and did 2 years up there, and then finished my education in Nassau. But basically, for us in the Exuma case, mainly we would basically do that. We would go up to about grade 9, and then venture off into either the mainland Exuma or into Nassau.
But after you were done with your schooling, you came back.
Why? It's a comfortability thing, and then you get sick being in the city all the time. I kind of like an island boy by heart, so coming back to the island is basically home, and I felt like I could do what I really want to do, venturing off into other businesses, being home, and then I had the luxury of being able to get into the work field and then doing things that I like. So
you work at Over Yonder Key, which is a very exclusive, ultra luxurious resort. You're able to work over there and sustain yourself. So, at a lot of islands, people aren't always able to do work like that, but you've been able to find that. Is that what happens with a lot of folks who live here, grow up here, get education and come back because they can now find employment?
Well, I mean, I can't really speak for everybody else, but basically, I think we're blessed in the Exuma case to have that kind of luxury because we're surrounded by lots of privatized islands that offer that type of jobs. So for us in the Exuma case, it's been more that than I think, anywhere else in the Bahamas because of that same particular situation. I guess having the luxury of having all these separate islands with separate job structures and whatever.
Sure. So what is it, though, do you think that people love about coming to Exuma? Why is it that tourists love it so much? And even a lot of Bahamians come here on vacation.
Well, I could say personally the people. Secondly, I think the Exuma has the most beautiful waters in the entire world, not just the Bahamas. And I guess because recently we had swimming pigs and all those different other ventures like the sharks down at Compass, and then you have the turtles down at Farmers, the mermaid, the piano, with so many different things that you can venture off into and dealing with the Bahamas and dealing with the Exuma Keys. And it's
So I know that you recently started in your own business as well. You have an opportunity to work and to run your own business. How are you balancing those two?
Well, balancing it is easy. It's basically on the weekends, some weekends when I'm not at work, I kind of try my best to conch salad, getting into the conch salad and, well, not just conch salad, but I'll just focus on conch salad for right now, but I'm getting into the conch salad business and it's a demand here in Staniel. It's a high demand. It's not as much as you would think conch salad around. So we thought it was a nice, it started off to me as a nice idea because there's so many locals and so many tourists that come in and ask where it's such a high demand. So I said, let me try it out and see how it goes. And from then it became a lucrative business and I just stuck with it. And hopefully in the future I can enhance it.
Mm-hmm. So final question, you've been here most of your life, only leaving to school, but now you're working, looking at expanding your business and growing. As a young Bahamian, an island boy at heart, what would you like to see for Staniel Key to take it to the next level, to make it even better than what it is?
Well, I mean, you can never say it can never get better than what it is. Everything's open for improvement, but I guess exposure. And with exposure, I guess infrastructures like more restaurants, more places for people to be able to get something to eat, more places for people to stay. It's becoming a thriving community and it's growing day by day. And I guess those two things will create a big help for Staniel. Very big help. All right. Some place where you can get something to eat, but get something to eat after 9 o'clock. Yes. Living in Staniel is kind of hard to find food to eat after 9 o'clock in the evening. So
You got it.
basically that's about it. And then places, because we have been so many people come around, rooms and board, it's very hard to come by because it's so many people. But
So definitely a market. So thank you very much. I appreciate you talking with us. We appreciate it, man. All the best to you. When your business gets up and running for sure, but I got trying to coax out of it when I come back.
Yep.
I think I may miss it this time. When we come back, we can look for you for sure and check us.
sure, hey, no.
And whatever else you add to the menu.
When you do come back, you can have a small segment just strictly Big Jack's Conch Salad style.
Big time.
So you're
All right.
we love the community near you.
Our journey through Staniel Key wouldn't be complete without paying homage to its rich maritime history. If you know anything about regattas, the name Captain Raleigh Gray should immediately come to mind. This legacy figure, born right here on Staniel Key, left an indelible mark on Bahamian sailing. We had to dig into his legacy, so we made a stop at the local shipyard. There, we had the privilege of meeting with expert boat builder Steve Smith, who shared with us the culture and history that this small key has produced through its proud seafaring traditions.
So one of the reasons I like coming on these trips is that I always learn a whole lot. Of all the things I knew about Staniel Key, I did not know that very famous regatta winningest boat, the Tidal Wave, came out of Staniel Key, and I'm in the shipyard in Staniel Key with Stephen Smith. He's a boat builder resident here. Sir, first of all, tell us where we are and why this spot is so famous.
Okay, here we are in Staniel. This is actually the area that we call the shipyard.
We call it the shipyard because this is pretty much the place where all of our boats were built, meaning the sailboats. Tidal Wave, Lady Muriel, Sprayhound, Seahound, Blue Wing, Slaughter with sails in Black Point, the Termite with sails in Georgetown. All of those boats, Bullrich, that's out of Barry, all of those boats were actually built right here in the shipyard here in Staniel Key. And so that's kind of where it got its name from. And so that's pretty much where we are right now.
Regattas obviously are big in the Bahamas. It's the thing that our family islands are known for, regatta time. How significant and important are those events to the people who live here? Like Nasuvians and others, we come to enjoy, but it is really a way of life for you all in many ways, eh?
Yes, sir, definitely. We kind of grew from baby into this stuff. Like personally, myself, along with the other skipper, because what happened is Raleigh Gray used to skip a tidal wave before he died, but now Brooks Miller skippers tidal wave. Kenneth Roll used to skip a Lady Muriel before he died, but then I ended up being the skipper of that boat. But what happened is a lot of people don't realize we were sailing with Kenneth and Raleigh, myself along with Brooks, from we were like 13, 14 years old. And
boys.
so, yeah, and so when those gentlemen died, we were like right in our late 30s, early 40s. So we sat there with them for all of those years and we gained quite a bit of experience. And that's why a lot of people see us went on those two boats and we had our winning ways, but they didn't understand. We didn't just jump to that area. We kind of grew over the years, but they were the two persons along with my Uncle Burke and as well as Reverend Alpheus Kelly. We grew up under them and we learned quite a bit of them from boat building as well as sailing. And so this thing, yeah, it didn't just start for us. We were like young boys from 13, 14 years old. And from then to now, this is pretty much all we know around these areas as far as sailboats are concerned.
When people come, do they come looking? Do they know what's here? Are they curious? Do they really know what's sitting right out here in the shipyard when they come to visit Staniel Key?
Well, as far as the tourists are concerned, anytime there's any boats down here look like it's getting anything done to it as far as repairs or built, they don't ever pass unless they stop by and, asking about what we're doing. And if we know there's no, not much more wooden boat builders left in the country. So they don't ever pass unless they stop by to see what's going on. Actually, we used to have a regatta here in Staniel called the mixed double. That's where Lady Muriel and Tidal Wave used to sail against each other. And all of the area guests, as far as the tourists are concerned, they were invited to sail and they couldn't believe that that was actually happening for them because they never dreamed of sailing on a Bahamian sloop in their lives. And they just still don't believe that ever happened for them. You never seen so many people as happy as this in their life.
Wow. Do you think we could be doing more to make sloop sailing, regattas, all of these things that we do, especially out there on the water? Do you think there's more that we can be doing to promote this as an activity in the Bahamas that more Bahamians can do and that tourists can come and really get involved with and enjoy?
Definitely as far as the regattas are concerned, I think we could do more. I'm kind of disappointed that Eleuthera actually lost their regatta for whatever reason, because whether you know it or not, a lot of people who have those stalls and stuff in these regattas, they pretty much depend on those regattas to carry them through for a whole year. This is what we hear from some of those people who's standing behind those stalls, and I can understand why. Because when you look at what happens in those regattas, the people that come, the crowd that come, they come and they want to eat and drink and party, okay? And so if you have the stuff there to sell to them, this thing goes on like from the regatta start until it's over. And I'm talking about from sunrise to sunset almost every day. And so, whatever the government needs to do to try and get a regatta in every island there is possible, I think, something should be done for that.
All right, well, so thank you very much for sharing this with us. This is certainly a local gem, an undiscovered gem, I think, for many people. They don't even realize it. And so keep up the great work. Like the tourists tell you, there are a few places in the world that still do this.
Right.
And even a few places in the country. So we appreciate you keeping the tradition alive.
Yes, sir. It's great to have you guys here. Our news at Staniel Key. Boy, that's very good. Yeah, excited. Hope to see you guys back when we having another big activity. So you got to stay in touch with the right people and make sure we get you back down here.
Most definitely. Thank you
Yes, sir.
very much, sir.
Yeah, you're
Appreciate you.
welcome, man. Yeah, man.
All right.
It was time to slip on our rash guards, lather up on the sunblock, and head to the dock. We met up with Staniel Key Adventurers team, where our charismatic captains Keith and O'Neill were ready to take us on a thrilling fishing excursion. They gave us a crash course on what it takes to be a fisherman in these waters, sharing their expertise and passion for the craft. With their guidance, it was time to put our skills to the test. And I have to say, the On the Record team proved to be naturals. After a heavy catch, we headed back to shore. But before calling it a day, we knew we had to spend a little extra time with Keith and O'Neill to learn more about their lives here on this incredible key.
All right, so first of all, let's talk about what you find to be the most interesting part of what you do. What do you enjoy about this?
Well, first thing first, I enjoy it all, but mostly fishing, you know.
Right. Why? Why the fishing?
You know, growing up on the island, that's the only source of eating, you know. We fish, catch. Can't go out there and don't catch nothing or you won't eat, you know what I mean?
You took us out today and you made all of us fishermen in some way. What are some of the key things when you go out to fish that you need to do that will make you successful in your catch?
Well, first thing first, you need to find a good spot, you know what I mean? Hopefully none of y'all have no GPS on y'all to mark that, but, you know what I mean? Second, just take time and patience, you know what I mean? Fishing is all about patience,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Now, a couple of times we caught and threw some back, so there's a rule as to what size you could or should and should not catch, right?
Yeah, anything when you get like, you know, us Exomians, we like big fish.
Right.
So if it's not past the limit, we throw it back. But me, sometimes I throw it back so y'all won't clean my spot. You know what I mean?
Now, when tourists come, whether they Americans, Bahamians, or whatever, what are they looking for when they come out to the wall? What kind of day are they looking for generally?
Well, they know they're going to have an adventurous day, first off. You know what I mean? Touring, fishing, whatever I do, I try to do, or be my best. You know what I mean? As you can see, I like to crack jokes here and there, so I make that a top priority. I don't know if KJ have anything to say, you know what I mean? I don't want to take up all the show time.
No. What is it like for you? You out on these boats as well? What do you enjoy about it?
I like the scenery. You can never get used to it.
Yeah?
So the water, the keys, the turtles, fish, everything about it. I love it. So you can never get used to it, no matter how much you come. I live here and I still ain't used to it, and I think I never will be.
Wow.
It's just so beautiful there.
Now, I have to ask, who's the better teacher out of the two of you?
I can let him answer that.
Why?
Yeah, man.
I'd say it depends on what we're talking about here. Fishing?
Fishing. Who's the better teacher?
Obviously better than them. We proved that today.
Say what?
We proved it today.
You two say?
Everyone I teach, he might have caught one or two more, but I caught the bigger fish.
I can't bring someone into the cricket.
Exactly, they ain't catch no grouper.
Yeah, man.
No water, they ain't catch no big blue rock.
Now listen to me. That's the serious thing. They called me, they didn't call him. They asked me.
They asked you to come.
They asked me if I want him along with me.
And what you say? Yeah, I want my boy.
I said bring him. Honestly, I said bring him so I can make him look like something. Yeah, man. So I tag him along to make him look good. Yeah, man.
Everything good.
But you know, yeah, man. Just sometimes you gotta have fun in what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have fun doing it,
That's true. I don't like. We had a really good time. We talked.
That's what I'm talking about.
A lot of jokes. We got a good amount of fish. I mean, y'all got to. We can make at least but 2 parts stew with this.
That's what I'm talking. Stew, we could fry them, fish fry, whatever you like. You know what I mean?
All right, I mean, they see this not going to be a problem now. So, gentlemen, thank you very much, man. I appreciate you taking us out
That's what
today.
we do best, you know.
Excellent
Appreciate
work,
it.
man. We
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
it.
Come again soon.
And leave off. She catch up all the fish.
That's most valuable fish that they got.
After enjoying a delicious dinner made from our catch of the day, we took some time to relax and recharge for the final leg of our adventure. The next morning, feeling refreshed and eager, we made our way back to the dock. There, we met up with Captain Kenson, who was ready to take us on an exciting tour of the surrounding keys.
One thing about On the Record is we will always assure you of an adventure. You just never know what you're going to get. So, of course, we're here in Staniel Key for this episode. And you cannot come to the Exumas and come to Staniel Key and not experience this. We're on the open water. We're about to take in all of the wonderful amenities in and around Staniel Key. We've got a lot planned today. We're with the greatest conch salad maker in the world, I've been told, along with my fantastic crew. So put on your bathing suit, your rash guard, your 2-piece, your 1-piece, lots of sunblock. Let's get started.
Our tour of the Keys began with a short 10-minute ride over the sparkling waters. The first stop was a conch-rich area where our captain anchored the boat and effortlessly dove into the water, returning moments later with a fresh conch. From there, we continued our journey, gliding across the water for another 15 minutes until we approached a key that felt like a scene from a Jurassic Park movie. This was Iguana Key, a place where time seemed to stand still. As we stepped ashore, we were greeted by the Key's curious residents, dozens of iguanas, each eager for a snack. We took a moment to feed these prehistoric-looking creatures, explored the caves, and hiked up the cliffs to take in the breathtaking view. Standing at the top, with a vast expanse of the Exumas stretching out before us, we couldn't help but feel a deep connection to the natural beauty and wild spirit of these keys. Our journey through Staniel Key continues as we dive into one of the most iconic experiences this key has to offer, the legendary Thunderball Grotto. This stunning underwater cave system was made famous by the 1965 James Bond movie Thunderball. The underwater caverns were filled with marine light, and just as Taja said, when the light hit peak through the top of the cave, it became something straight out of a dream. Our next stop was the most famous attraction in the Exumas, Pig Island, home of the original swimming pigs. As we approached the shore, we were greeted by the sight of these adorable aquatic hogs paddling through the crystal clear waters to meet us. The pigs were as friendly as they were famous, eagerly swimming up to the boat, hoping for a treat. But the stars were really the baby pigs. They were even more charming up close, their playful nature making it impossible not to smile. Whether splashing in the shallows or lounging on the beach, these lovable creatures made this stop truly unforgettable. We took a quick lunch stop at a gorgeous sandbar between Big and Little Pike Key. This key is famous not just for the sandbar, but for its natural lazy river current that wraps it. Upon arrival, our trusted captain cleaned and diligently prepared the conch he had captured at the beginning of our journey into what folk had told us was the most delicious conch salad in the country.
It looks so good.
Honest feedback.
What's up? I know what you do there.
Better than said NASA, right?
Right, listen, NASA people can close up shop.
Our next stop took us to the famous Compass Key Marina, where we had the unique opportunity to get up close and personal with the island's most social residents, the nurse sharks. For some of our crew, this was a chance to conquer their fears, as they did so with courage and excitement. As we waded into the water, the sharks circled us, surprisingly gentle and curious. It wasn't long before we were hugging, kissing, and even playing with these incredible creatures. Captain saved the best for last, bringing us to the most beautiful picturesque spot yet, the conch swing on Little Pipe Key. As we approached, we were greeted by another stunning sandbar, with the iconic swing gently swaying in the breeze, perfectly positioned in the middle of the crystal clear waters. It was the kind of scene that dreams are made of, and we couldn't resist securing a few Instagram-worthy photos to capture the moment. But after, we simply sat there, soaking in the natural beauty surrounding us. The tranquility of the clear blue water and pristine white sand reminded us just how incredible it is to have such breathtaking beauty right here in our own backyard.
As the sun sets on another beautiful day in Exuma, it also signals the end of this edition of On the Record. We hope that over this past episode, you've been able to see, explore, understand, and appreciate things about the Exumas that you may have never taken the opportunity to do before. We encourage you to not only visit this island, but visit as many islands of the Bahamas as you can. These things are right in our own backyard. Let's get out and enjoy all that we have to offer. We hope that you've enjoyed watching this episode as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. So for one last time, for On the Record, from the Conch Swing at Little Pipe Key, I'm Jerome Sawyer. This is On the Record. We'll see you next time.